You want to see a perfect fragrance collection? There is none. It's not a real thing. Because everybody uses fragrances for a different reason and everybody likes different types of scents. But believe it or not, you don't need 52 billion fragrances to have a perfect collection. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Today, I'm gonna be showing you 10 different fragrances that if you put them together, perfect in a sense. All of these are gonna be linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. Where shall we begin? How's about something that's a little bit under the radar that your average Joseph McBroseph MD is not gonna be wearing, but it's gonna do the same thing for you. It's gonna give you that versatility that you desire, that year-round usability, perhaps with a little compliment factor sprinkled in for good measure. Moncler Sunrise pour Homme. So this little beaut right here, you can now find at discounters, thankfully. Used to be, you couldn't. What's the price? I don't know. You can find it for between 65 and 75 bucks, which is much nicer than paying full retail price. Atomizer test. Pretty good. So this is gonna tickle that spot that Sauvage or Invictus might fill. Got a really nice opening citrus, pink pepper, sage as well. Then as it dries down, you get vetiver, little touch of incense, some suede as well. This stuff smells fantastic. It's just an everyday scent. It's got the performance to last you through a work day or an evening. And as I mentioned before, big compliment puller. So you can get this right here, and it's something that almost nobody out there is gonna be wearing. But it's gonna do the same thing for you that all the super popular stuff is. Now, to be fair, if you wanted to go with like Bleu de Chanel and Dior Sauvage and YSL Y, like that is totally valid. Those will also work. This is just if you wanna be one of those dudes who's like, that stuff? Maybe John Fragrance wears that, but not me. That's cool though. We're gonna get some big hitters in here too. You got it. Let's see guys, what fragrance next for our perfect collection? Well, how's about this? Burberry Hero, the Eau de Parfum. Now they have just recently, as of when I'm filming this video, announced the new Hero, Elixir. Because apparently everybody has to have the Elixir name. I don't know, it's a rule. I don't make the rules. And in typical Elixir fashion, that one's probably going to be the most expensive, will be the most expensive. And who knows? Maybe it smells amazing. Maybe it smells lights out. But for now, if we're talking Hero, it's the Eau de Parfum. So what this is gonna do as an entry into your collection is give you something that's fantastic during fall and winter, a great evening fragrance with a nice classiness that also smells sexy for a date night. It is cedar forward, which is going to be really the main thing from the Hero line. That's what it's most well known for, having a few different types of cedar in there, because if you have more types, that makes it more better. That's just maths. That was the whole idea behind the fragrance. They were like, okay, we want woodiness. I like cedar, let's go with that, but hold up. What about lots of different types of cedar? That makes it number one. So it has that, but then they also give us a nice little bit of resinous sweetness in there. Really adds a nice deepness, a little extra complexity. And that bit of sweetness that you get from that just elevates the whole scent profile. The original Eau de Toilette version of Hero is maybe more versatile. If you could wear that pretty much year round. But if we're just talking about the one that smells the best, if you're gonna have just one of them, it's this stuff. But you know what we need, guys? We need a vanilla bomb. And why is that? Because look around. So many fragrances coming out nowadays are overdosed on vanilla. We are talking bombs of sweetness, sugary, saccharine goodness. So you gotta have one, at least one. And we're going with this right here, Invictus Victory Elixir. Now I will tell you guys, if you want one that is leaning more like cozy, cozy little gourmandy, you could go with something like Stronger With You Absolutely, or Stronger With You Parfum. If you want something that you could wear more year round or closer to year round that has a nice balance of freshness with the sweetness, you could check out Born in Roma Intense. But if you're just looking for that straight up attention grabbing, like sparkling, almost effervescent vanilla, this stuff is lights out. It smells fantastic. Now, Invictus Victory that came before this, that's good too. that's good too. But I think if you're going just one, you gotta go Victory Elixir. It's just the way of the world, man. And another cool thing about this one, or cool to me, is it smells like they took a bunch of different fragrances and blended them together. So you get some of the Le Beau line in here from Jean Paul Gaultier. You get Invictus Victory. You get like some of the Bad Boy line in here. You get 1 Million Elixir. You can pull a lot of different things from this fragrance, you know, bits and pieces. Stunning for fall and winter. Great evening fragrance, big attention grabber. Gotta have it. We need something classy. Prada, fancy seeing you here. Prada L'Homme Intense. This is one of the best iris fragrances out there. But it is not your Dior Homme style iris, which is the more creamy, lipsticky. What is that? Lipsticky? Of course, we all know that. It's not as makeup-y as Dior Homme or Valentino Uomo Intense. Instead, this is more soapy. So you get like soapy, clean, kind of powdery iris in here. Also have leather as well in the Intense version, which helps make the fragrance a little bit more masculine leaning compared to the original Prada L'Homme. Gives it a little extra push and makes it where you can wear this during fall and winter a little bit easier, but you can still put off during the spring as well. And it is office safe, even though this is the Intense version. It's not like it's suddenly turned into a crazy animalic monster, even though the bottle is blacked out. So you wanna go classy? You wanna have, again, that versatility, because we're trying to make a collection here that's perfect with just 10 bottles. You don't wanna have like too many classy fragrances, you know? But you want all of that. You want it all. You want the compliment factor, the versatility, the usability, the performance, you know, all of that. The prestige of the name. Then you get this. Because Prada is still a name that absolutely everybody knows. Or I feel like absolutely everybody knows it. It's gonna be at least one dude out there who's like, Prada, I've never heard of that. Armani, well, yeah. Oh. I know Carhartt. Anything else? Doritos and Mountain Dew. I know that. A man educated on the truly most important things. The next scent is going to do a couple things for us. It's gonna give us something on the cheap, so something that we can pick up very affordably from just about anywhere. It's gonna give us good performance, and it's gonna be a standout spring and summertime fragrance during the day. Because if you look over here, there is a lean right now more towards fall, winter time scents. So we got to change that up. But before doing that, codes. Because they're changing. JOMASHOP codes changed. The ones that you once had are no more. So if you would like to save money there using the codes are as they are now that you see that are changed. Then I have a bunch of other codes for Fragrance Lord, Frag, Flex, Gift Express, and more, so use those codes, save yourself some cheddar. The next one is Turathi Blue. So this is Afnan, smells really similar to Bulgari Tiger. Citrus overload. You're gonna get a ton of it off the top here, but it smells really good. And it does smell way more expensive than you would expect if you have never smelled it before, which is good news, because that means you can go spray, and go around, and when people ask you, what are you wearing that smells amazing? You do the old skullduggery. You do a little subterfuge, a little nonsensical lying. You tell them, I'm wearing Bulgari Tiger, spelled with a Y. It's expensive. Or you can be a nobleman and you can tell the truth, but where's the fun in that? And I do have to say, the type of citrus in here, like I said before, very similar to how it comes across in Tiger, is not going to be an overly rindy citrus. I know a lot of people out there, especially in the US, they shy away from that pretty heavy, because in their minds, you know, they smell like a rindy citrus, a bitter citrus, a tart citrus, and they'll be like, ugh, it smells like cleaner products or whatever. This one is really sweet and even almost creamy with a nice zestiness to it. Now, one of the most popular types of fragrances right now is stuff that is similar to Myself by Yves Saint Laurent. That type of scent is just insanely popular, massive compliment pulling type of scent profile. You can wear it all the time, basically. And you've seen it pop up with other brands. Like they have their fragrances coming out that are not the same as YSL Myslf, but they're, you know, kind of similar. So we gotta get something like that going, and I've got this right here. It is Mysf Le Parfum. So this is gonna be the darker, slightly more grown up, slightly more buttoned up Myself. It still has that freshness that you expect, you know, that orange blossom, that comes across pretty clearly, but then this one is gonna give you an additional bit of sweetness in there as it dries down. Still has a really nice like, fizziness to it. You know, you spray that on, just leaps off your skin, grabs attention right away. Top-notch stuff, and a best-selling fragrance. So to be fair with this one, if you're trying to keep something a little more under the radar, it's not really this. But if you're building a collection and you're trying to keep it very contemporary, very modern, you know, what people are wanting to smell right now, this is one of the best things you can own. We're going back to fresh again. We're going green, we're going sweet. We're going with Paradise Garden by Jean Paul Gaultier. Paradise Garden is killer. This stuff in spring, summer, early fall, absolutely fantastic. It makes use of fig, which is a note that you're not gonna find all that often in men's perfumery, especially in the designer realm. Also have coconut in there. You have a nice tropical sweetness to it. Also has green aquatic notes, and I'll say the Le Beau line, one of the best out there, just as far as positive attention. It is almost universally beloved, at least in my experience. Le Beau Le Parfum actually is gonna be one of the absolute best of the best when it comes to that whole positive interaction thing, but that one, middle of summer, I don't really wear. I would go for this over that when it's really hot outside, and I like this one pretty much just as much as Le Beau Le Parfum. So filling out this collection specifically, you know, there are more fragrances here that lean towards cooler weather. And in actuality, that's when I lean more toward Le Beau Le Parfum, like early spring, late fall, even through winter, I would go for that one. But if we're talking spring, summer, and early fall, go for this one. Back into the cologne realm with this fragrance right here. This is Royal Blend Nero by French Avenue. They have a bunch of different Royal Blend fragrances. Thankfully, with this being a French Avenue, it is once again cheap. And I guess really if you wanted to fill out like a starter collection or a more affordable collection, you would probably hit it with a lot more cologne fragrances, because most of them you can get like 25 bucks, 30 bucks, stuff like that. But the idea here is mainly designer fragrances with just a couple of cheaper clones worked in that are cloning fragrances that are way, way more expensive. But if you wanted to, like, you can find clones for even designer fragrances a lot of times. So yeah, it really is dependent on the person. Kind of like I said at the beginning of the video, the perfect collection is gonna be completely different for every single person. For some people, they'll have 5 fragrances, like I use this here, this here, this here, this here, this here, and that's all I need, and that's perfect for them. Other people want 500 fragrances, you know? But one thing you should keep in mind, and this goes for everybody, you should not go into crazy debt buying up a collection. Buying things within reason is totally cool. Like, people have hobbies and collections of everything. Some people collect shoes, some people collect games, some people that have a ton of money collect cars. There's nothing wrong with collecting fragrances at all. There is something wrong with collecting fragrances if you're going tens of thousands of dollars into debt and trying to fill a hole with purchases. So keep that in mind too. I still love you guys. So this right here, it smells like Gisa Sava, a little bit like Angel Share, could remind you of that. Smells like Camera to an extent by Lattafa. Performance is fantastic. The quality is great. It is easily as good as Camera and fragrances in that style, if not better. It has cinnamon, vanilla, tonka, nutmeg, apple, smells amazing. Huge attention grabber that really nobody is wearing unless they know fragrances. For the most part, nobody outside the fragrance world knows that this exists, which is good for you because you can pick it up for 35 bucks and be wearing something that smells like it cost you 350. And by the way, 35 bucks, that's kind of what you want to be targeting with this, because on eBay and other places, I've seen this going for like, or being asked to go for $80, $85. That's too much. Don't do that. That defeats the entire purpose of buying a fragrance on the cheap to put into your collection so it doesn't cost you much that smells expensive. If you start spending close to $100 for it, then it defeats the purpose. More versatility up next, guys. Ralph's Club New York, Ralph Lauren. This one has steadily become one of my absolute favorite releases of 2025. It has a great sweetness off the top, sweet and fresh, kind of like out of the shower to an extent, with a nice tartness in there from black currant. As it dries down, more of like a, you know, modern, stripped away, woody vibe. Not heavy, not earthy, just wearable, a little bit classy, very attention grabbing, and a nice tart sweetness from the opening kind of carries over as well, just kind of lurks there along the edges. Absolutely fantastic, and at full retail, really good deal, actually. You get 110 milliliters, so you get 10% more than your average bottle. And it's just a little more affordable than a lot of the other big brand names. Although, if you do want to make the absolute best buy, of course, wait a little while longer, have that price drop even further at discounters, and then scoop it up. Last but not least, Guilty Absolu. Now this one is on the pricier side. Yep, you can kind of tell just by the little rinky-dink bottle. Anytime they put it into a miniaturized bottle and, you know, slap a fancy name on the front, they're gonna charge you for it. Yay. It's actually the same bottle as Guilty Elixir. So this is basically just a flanker of Guilty Elixir. And it does actually smell kind of similar to Guilty Elixir. Difference with this one is, as you can tell, you know, a darker shade to the bottle. It's a little darker than Guilty Elixir. Has a nice added bit of booziness in there. Perfect once again for a fall winter evening. Super classy, this stuff. Really sexy. Similar also to Pegasus by Parfums de Marly, and a little bit of a reflection from Amouage, Reflection Man. So it is the slightly more grown up, boozier, classier take on Guilty Elixir. It's gonna give you something that is different from all of this stuff right here. This is like your symphony fragrance. You're going out to the symphony or to the opera or something, spray this stuff on. And look at that, we've created the perfect collection. With this, any situation you find yourself in, you have something here you can spray on and elevate what you're wearing to the next level. And you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to do so. I wanna thank you guys for hanging with me here. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.